some New York music director's idea of rockabilly, because once you put the fingers in there,
yeah, that's
everything's up to date in Kansas City, and didn't want that.
There were notes of Ashley Simpson on that one. Notes of notes of Ashley Simpson.
For those who love neo-traditional country music, Chuck Mead is no stranger. He, along with other greats, were instrumental in the unique sound that helped revitalize country music in Nashville in the 90s. Earlier this year, Mead and another country great, Marty Stuart, joined hands to write Lonely Boy, Mead's latest single with his band, the Stalwarts. A new video directed by Stacie Huckeba was also released. We initially thought of it as a Johnny Horton-style song, Mead says about Lonely Boy in a statement. But when the band played it, it transformed into a Johnny Horton backed by Johnny Thunder's sound, which we thought was cool. Mead has always been a mix of genres over his career, especially with the band BR549 at Robert's Western World in Nashville, and he's been able to effortlessly blend those seemingly disparate genres. Growing up, I played in my family's country band, jamming to Hank Williams, Merle Haggard, and Tammy Wynette, alongside classic rock and roll like Elvis, Carl Perkins, and Chuck Berry, Mead says. But then I discovered my own era of rock and roll with the Ramones, Eddie and the Hot Rods, the Jam, Generation X, and the Clash, and it all blended together in my heart. I went from country to punk rock and back to country again. Mead and the Stalwarts, bassist Mark Andrew Miller and drummer Marty Linz, are currently on the road and will perform gigs in North Carolina, Tennessee, and Missouri next week. Earlier this summer, they were also at the Trucker and Country Festival in Interlaken, Switzerland, as a five-piece with Adam Ditch Kurtz on pedal steel and Italian guitarist Don Diego. Mead's writing partner on Lonely Boy, Stewart, and his band, the Fabulous Superlatives, will open for Chris Stapleton at a pair of shows in Nashville this weekend. Mead was born in Nevada, Missouri, on December 22, 1960, but was raised in Kansas. In 1973, Mead joined his family's country and western band, the Wines Country Rhythm Band, later called the Family Tree. He played drums and sang early rock and roll songs with his uncle, mother, grandfather, and father, and performed at dances and programs throughout Missouri and Kansas until 1980. In his late teens, Mead switched from playing the drum to guitar, and over the next 10 years, formed several rock and roll bands with various musician friends. Most notable was the Homestead Grays, which between 1986 and 1990 released two records, Big Hits and El Supremo. After they broke up in 1992, Mead formed a duo with future BR549 drummer Shaw Wilson, called Dos Cojones, before moving to Nashville in 1993. BR549 was nominated for a Grammy Award 3 times, 1996, 1997, and 1999, and won the Country Music Association Award for International Touring Act of the Year in 1997. In 2009, Mead released his first solo album, Journeyman's Wager, produced by Ray Kennedy, on his own Grassy Knoll Records label. Then in 2014, the release of Free State Serenade happened on the newly formed Plowboy Records. The songs paid homage to Mead's home state of Kansas. 10 years later, Mead released Close to Home, an album he recorded in Memphis. In 2020, in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, Mead wrote and recorded I Ain't Been Nowhere, a parody based upon the Hank Snow song I've Been Everywhere, made famous by Johnny Cash. The original song features a list of different cities sung rapid fire. Mead changed it to locations within the confines of his own home. Mead is not just a singer and songwriter, but has also taken on producing music and musical theater. Since 2006, he has served as the musical supervisor-director for the Tony Award-winning Broadway musical Million Dollar Quartet. As musical supervisor, he crafted the musical arrangements for the Chicago, Broadway, West End, and Broadway Across America national tour productions of the show. Since 2019, Mead has also hosted a radio show on 650 AM WSM radio in Nashville called Face the Music with Chuck Mead. Many who hear the new song will obviously find it quite different to good old country. But many will also ask, what really is the neo-traditional sound? Neo-traditional country music is a subgenre that blends the traditional elements of country music with more modern sounds. There's a lot of instrumental background in the classic country-style vocals. Most of the instruments used are stringy, like the twangy guitars, steel guitars, and even the fiddle. The lyrics often focus on traditional country themes such as love, heartbreak, and rural life. Well-known names such as Randy Travis, Alan Jackson, Patty Loveless, and George Strait are among other artists who have dabbled in neo-traditional country music and made a name for themselves in the genre.